Welcome everyone to this extraordinary meeting of Cabinet. The meeting is being streamed live to the Cheltenham Borough Council YouTube channel and recorded for training purposes. So I'll welcome anybody or any member of the public who is watching the meeting on YouTube. I don't think we have any members of the public, but I will read this out anyway. So if you're here to make a representation to the meeting, you are consenting to the use of the sound recordings for broadcasting and training purposes. And this is something I will read out, just so that it becomes common practice really, is to anyone that's in the public gallery. As you will be aware, temporary measures have recently come into force to increase security at council meetings, following disruption at last week's Cabinet meeting. CCTV and audio recording is now in operation in the public gallery, and recordings will be held for 5 months. Whilst this is a regrettable decision, the Council remains committed to making decisions in open session. It is essential that meetings and Council business can be carried through safely, efficiently and without disruption. In the event of a disturbance, I will adjourn the meeting and ask that anyone causing the disruption is escorted from the chamber so that Cabinet can continue to efficiently take the decisions required. And the final bit of that is that there's a no fire alarm test expected. So if the alarm does go, we should immediately make our way to the nearest fire exits. That starts us off now with the procedural matters, which the first one is apologies. I've got apologies from Councillor Clucas and Doby for this meeting. Otherwise, we are all here. Do I have any declarations of interest from any member of Cabinet? Thank you. The minutes of the last meeting that held on the 19th September, we will look at and consider at the 17th of October because this is a special extraordinary Cabinet meeting. We do not have any public or member questions or petitions that we've received. We have nothing referred from Council, Scrutiny or any other committees. That leads us on to reports from Cabinet members and or officers. And this is the report of Councillor Collins, and it's about entering into the development finance agreement. So, Councillor Collins.
Thank you, Leader. Yes, I'm very confident that everybody here will have read the reports in detail, the 84-page main report about the development funding agreement and the 12-page addendum to that about the financial arrangements and the legal matters. So I am going to introduce the report at full council later on this evening. I have an introduction for that, but I don't feel that I need to read that out here in this meeting, but I am happy to take questions from any of the colleagues here this evening. Can I leave it at that, Leader?
Thank you, Councillor Collins. Is there any member of Cabinet that wants to speak now or have any questions? What I should have said is that if anybody wants to stray into anything that's within the exempt pink papers section of this, then we will need to go into exemption. Not a problem if we need to do that, but I just needed to remind members not to stray into that section. Councillor Jeffreys.
My apologies, Leader. I hadn't logged in, I don't think. Thank you. Yes, like Councillor Collins, I've been immersed in this somewhat for quite some time. But actually, we've been discussing Golden Valley and the cyber world and developments for a number of years. So I'm not going to stray into the documentation and the debate, because I'm sure there'll be interesting conversations and presentation later on. But I just wanted to actually just put on record my thoughts that actually it's really quite something. It's quite a special moment for this council to get to another major milestone in this sort of moving this forward. So that's all I wanted to really say. That is something special, but I'm also going to talk a bit later on. Thank you, Leader.
Sorry, obviously there are the usual officers arrayed at the top table here and all the Cabinet members that are here tonight, but there's also the whole of the Gold Valley development team here. And I do hope you're going to be here later as well. But thank you very much for coming, guys. And of course, this report is down to you. I was going to mention that later, so, you know, don't hold your breath.
I do have to say, I'm going to pull my cabinet member up and say welcome to all of the team. I know you've been... Welcome, guys, is what you said, Councillor Collins. Welcome, Sandra, Abby. We've got we've got a full debate to come in the cabinet in the full council meeting at 6 o'clock is the start of it, but obviously not public session at that point, and then we have the public council meeting at 7 o'clock. I think I'd just like to take this opportunity, and I probably will reiterate it in full council, but when you sit here and think about actually how small a budget we've got in comparison to what we are now actually looking to borrow, a sort of base budget of 17 and a bit million, and we're borrowing 95. I think if anybody ever says to me that Cheltenham Borough Council's got no ambition, I don't know. I don't know what I might become a boxer. Can I see a show of hands, please, as per the recommendations that we're sending this on with all the appendices that are listed to full council for debate. So if I could see a show of hands, please. Thank you all for that. That now leads us on to the briefing from cabinet members. I'll start. Councillor Collins.
I haven't got anything else to brief on, thank you, Leader.
Councillor Lewis. Councillor Aston. Councillor Hallwood. Councillor Wilkinson.
As we're here. That's not me on the screen. There I am. I was just going to say, it's been the Liberal Democrat conference this last few days, and I was really pleased to be able to go up on stage during the public health debate and talk about the good work that this authority is doing with the NHS for the Feed Cheltenham leisure passes, which I understand are now being used by around 60 of our neediest local families. And I think that's a really positive story to tell about what this administration in our local area is doing to help people who really need their support. And one other thing that's positive over the last few days, I understand the ice rink has gone through planning, so this Christmas we'll hopefully see another 40,000 smiling faces.
Thank you, Councillor Wilkinson. Councillor Jeffries. And nothing from me for this meeting. There have been no member decisions since last week. There are no other items that I determine to be urgent and that require a decision. The date of our next meeting is the 17th of October, and at 5:14, I